Hi there, VC. Steve Whitty here. Time for a video. It has been a few weeks since I've done the last one. Busy. Also, I haven't been playing much. I had to replace my stylus on my turntable, and lo and behold, it took longer to arrive than I'd anticipated. Still, it didn't stop me buying records, so this video is July finds. Not as many as normal, but that might not be a bad thing. Sort of reining it in a little bit. So without further ado, let's start off. And the first couple of records have got a bit of a Gallic flair to them. So first up, this is Ange, and it is their album Les Centimétiers de Alchuen, I think is how you pronounce it. And if I butchered the French language, I do apologise. I think might be their second or third album. And it's typical prog fare, very popular in France. They're still going in a form. Fronted by the two brothers, and I didn't make note of the name, but it does. I always find with music, it doesn't matter what language they're singing in. I've got Russian, Polish, I've got Hungarian I've shown, and Polish. So the music sounds good and it sounds okay. It doesn't really matter. They did do English language album in the mid 70s, singing in French. Did hold them back a bit, particularly when it comes to travelling overseas, which is unfortunate. So yeah, Ange, not a tribute to the departed manager of Tottenham Hotspur. Moving on, staying in France, Serge Gainsbourg, or on this album, he was known as Gainsbourg. Now, this is Aux Armes, etc. This is recorded in Jamaica. Has Sly and Robbie features Sly and Robbie. It also features the i3s on backing vocals as well. This, as it suggests, it is a reggae-influenced album. Released in 1979 on the Island label. Now, the title track caused a bit of a stink in France because it's basically the lyrics of the La Marseillaise done to a reggae beat and totally rehashed. It doesn't sound like the Marseillaise. And he performed it live on French television, Serge Gainsbourg, and it, as I said, caused a bit of a rumpus stink. Yeah, and it didn't really go down well, but he stuck to his guns. Gainsbourg was a one-off. And he's worth seeking out. Obviously got the History de Melody Nelson, and I've got Je T'aime with Jane Birkin. He's certainly somebody became a bit of a national treasure in France. This is an excellent album, actually. I got this in the £2 bins. This album's actually worth a little bit more than that. I've been trying to rein it in a little bit on the buying new stuff or reissues, but I did get this, The Cheerful Insanity of Giles and Fripp. This came out this is a reissue that came out beginning of July. I think it came out in 1968. This predates King Crimson, and it's very much whimsy, psychedelic of that era. It's not a bad record. Maybe I expected a bit more from it than what I got. It's staying in the collection, mind. But it's worth listening to, because some of you could see some of the seeds that have been grown that went into King Crimson. Michael Giles and Robert Fripp obviously going into forming King Crimson. So yeah, worth seeking out, having a listen to. It's on 200 gram vinyl, which given my new cartridge, I thought, oh crikey, this might test it a little bit, but yeah, it plays all right, it sounds okay. It's really actually not too bad an album to listen to. Magazine, Magic, Murder and the Weather, their fourth album, and it would be the last album for the initial split. John McGeoch had left the band by this point and replaced by Ben Mandelson on guitar. I think Devoto was very dissatisfied during the whole process of making the album, and he left the band pretty much after, left the band he formed, and then the rest of the band just split up, and sort of lost to what they were going to do next. It's not a bad post-punk album, not as good as Real Life, that's fair to say, and it's probably the weaker of the 4 albums, actually. But it's still a good post-punk album. It's worth seeking out if you've never heard it and you're sort of into that sort of post-punk thing, or into Magazine or work of Howard Devoto. Certainly, yeah, worth having a check out. Now, the one thing you haven't seen from me this is a July Calls video. That's basically because I haven't really been listening to so much stuff. So, there was nothing to call. But a couple of months ago, one of my previous calls video, I showed a copy of this, The Mission God in Medicine, and that's because my album was in such poor nick. Now, in the 80s, I've mentioned this before, late 80s, I was over The Mission. They were probably my favourite band, particularly around 1988, 89. This is their debut album. Wayne Hussey, Craig Adams had split from Sisters of Mercy, formed the band, and initial recordings on Chapter One Records. And this was like the first album issued on Mercury. Great, it's a good album. It's got some good strong songs on there. Stay With Me was a single. Wasteland was another single. Severina was good. I love Sacrilege. It opens up side 2. It's Garden Delight, which they changed, originally recorded with guitars into a more slow orchestral piece. This is a wonderful record. Children's better, but this is it was a good starter, as I say. I saw them a few years ago at Bearded Fury, I think it was 2022. And they still had it, and the fans were still up there with them. So, Parliament. I'm going to have to read this. Glory, Halla Stupid, from 1979. Part of the Parliament Funkadelic. So, this was the Funkadelic album. It's band I needed to seek out more, and I saw it, and I thought, I'm going to have this one. So you've got the title track, which opens the album, Party People, The Big Bang Theory, The Threes, Colour Me Funky, Theme from the Black Hole, and May We Bang You. It's good. It's good for what it is. I mean, this is my first Parliament album, in all honesty, so I can't say I've got anything else to compare it with and what I listen to, but it's the sort of thing I would like to seek out more. Classic album, I suppose, and it was on Amazon for some silly money, so I've brought Pearl Jam's 10. Probably their best album, in all honesty. Apologies for the glare here. There's not much you can say about it. It's got like the well-known tracks on there. It's a statement of intent. I mean, interesting band, Pearl Jam, in the direction. It's interesting that quite a few people don't listen to anymore, but it was an album I needed to have. Album I'm so pleased to pick up, Van der Graaf Generator, and the least we can do is wave to each other. I would consider Van der Graaf Generator as being what I would class as proper prog. None of this wave of Mellotron or whatever, and flutes and whatever. This is hard-edged sax, drums going all over the place, a keyboard that's been absolutely beaten to death, and a singer in Peter Hammill, whose voice, and you can see why it influenced like John Lydon. It's absolutely wonderful record. This is a 2021. Is it 20? No, it's not 2021. I think might be 2016 reissue. I know there's been several reissues recently of this album, but absolutely wonderful. Talking of prog, We've got Wally, and this is their second album, Valley Gardens. Now, Wally were a band, a prog band, and they came to the attention of, they entered a contest, battle of the bands. They didn't win; they come second, but one of the judges was the DJ Bob Harris, and he was suitably impressed, and he mentioned them to Rick Wakeman, and Rick Wakeman was suitably impressed as well when he heard a demo tape of hers, and they got and they ended up on Atlantic label, and the first album, the debut album, Wally, was co-produced by Rick Wakeman and Bob Harris. This second album was produced by Bob Harris and the band themselves. The best track on here is Night Per Se, I think, which was like a hit single. The problem with Wally, never took off. They split after this album, and so I think the leader, Pete Koska, never recovered. I think he died of heroin overdose, I think 1990, or drug overdose. I think the rest of the band have come back periodically, but it's of its time, and it's actually well worth seeking out. That's Wally. So changing tact a little bit. This is Depeche Mode, and this is their album Some Great Reward. Sorry, this came out 1984. I've actually been listening to a lot of Depeche Mode recently. I had a few CDs handy to me, which I ripped, and I had to listen. And take away from that early stuff, which seemed a bit lightweight poppy, actually there's some really dark overtones. I think this is Martin Gore's writing here coming to fore. Best known tracks on here, People Are People, and Master in Service, and Blasphemous Rumours, which I think were all hit singles in the UK. They were finding their sound a lot more. Wonderful album. Well worth, again, I keep saying it's well worth seeking out. But if you haven't listened to Depeche Mode, the albums, you only know them from the singles, it's worth having a listen to. Final album I'm going to show you. I was in the shop, and I was speaking to a regular customer, and he'd got it in his arm, a copy of this. Scott Walker, the moviegoer. This album was released in 1972. This is a 1975 Contour reissue, and it's never been reissued on vinyl since then. Walker made this sort of like to fulfill a contract. Never toured the album. The album didn't chart. His career had really just gone down the toilet. And the moviegoer is basically movie theme songs. So you've got Speak Softly, Love from The Godfather, That Summer Knows, Summer of 42, Facing the Crowd from the Mons, Easy Come, Easy Go from the Shoot Horses That Day, All His Children Have Never Given an Inch. You get the idea what the song was. Well, this guy tells me, but the Ballad of Sacco and Vanzetti, excellent song. And with that, he paid for it, and then he goes to me. Knew I had a big birthday recently. He handed it and said, "Happy birthday." So he presented this to me. And he's right, the Ballad of Sacco and Vanzetti. What a track. What a track. Awesome. So big thank you, for that. So almost like VCLT without the VC. So those were the purchases I made the finds I made in July. Hope you liked what I showed. I want to do a quick shout out to Gav Axman Spins. He was kind enough to mention me in his last video as shout out. He's right. I do help out at my local record shop on a Saturday afternoon to basically give Pete a hand because it can get busy in there. And he's a one-man band. And he was in there and he showed his records, the nice Nirvana record he got there. So yeah, big thank you for that. Do appreciate it. Hopefully we'll have a meet up soon. I think we're touting October, but we'll see how that goes. Anyhow, VC, so if you like what you see, thumbs up, thumbs down. Love the interaction. Whatever you get up to this weekend. Oh, sorry. Feel free to leave me a comment as well. I'll get back to you. And if you like, you can click on subscribe as well. Whatever you get up to this weekend, make sure it's a good one. I'm down the shop again today. This is Friday, helping out, and then and I've got Monday off as well from work. So that's all good. So whatever you do, make sure it's good. Take care of yourselves. Keep spinning. More importantly, keep on smiling.